In this episode, we go over the Grand Rapids Griffins' progress at the midway point of the 2025-26 season.
Welcome to the Griffins Pipeline Podcast.
Welcome back to the Griffins Pipeline Podcast. We are a podcast brought to you by the Hockey Podcast Network, and we are sponsored by DraftKings. I'm one of your hosts, Connor.
And I'm the other host, Kyle. We're a show by fans for fans. We are not officially partnered with the Grand Rapids Griffins or Detroit Red Wings. We bring the show as season ticket members, a great fan perspective, looking to bring the news of the Grand Rapids Griffins to the forefront. Today, we're diving deep into the first half of the 25-26 season, off to the hottest start in AHL history, and we're going to put that under the scope and go over it.
In 40 games, the Griffins have played the best out of any team ever in AHL history. 90 years. That's absolutely amazing stat. Really cool to see the Griffins keep breaking this record over and over again. At one point, it was like 36 games. At one point, it was like early 30s. It's we just keep getting further on, and keep breaking that record. And the more games you played, the better the record. So love to see it. Love to see the Griffins being the best team in all hockey. They're the number one power ranking all around sports. Enjoy it while it lasts, because I feel like the Griffins have kind of come back to earth now. They finally had their first 3-game losing streak, and the reality sets in. Dominic Shine goes down, Sheldon Dries gets called up. That leadership's not there, and we kind of faltered under the pressure and lost 3 games there at home too. I mean, you get Shine back, you get Dries back, it looks like a whole other team. So it's cool to see this adversity. It's very healthy for a team right now. I'm starting a season really good to have the adversity right now. Get rid of all adversity. We got all this time. We got 2 months and a half to get to the playoffs. And that's the time you fix all these mistakes and then have another streak at the playoffs, and then we can bring a cup home. This team has plenty of talent to do it.
Yeah, and kind of go over some of the milestones Grand Rapids Griffins have passed. Early in the first half of the season, they had the best franchise record from any Grand Rapids Griffins team. They're the best away point streak, which was a 18-game away point streak where they got a point in every single away game they were in. Tied the win streak at 15.
And they also tied the point streak at 9.
And, yeah, tied the point franchise record at 19. So those alone are some big ones. There's some other ones too. But along the way, we have the additions of John Leonard, Edward Strawmax, Ian Mitchell, Alex Kannok-Leipert, Michael Bastava, and Tyler Engel, all making huge impacts coming from different places around the world, joining this club in Grand Rapids and not skipping a beat, looking like they belong here. Everyone's playing together with great chemistry. Really good to see that Dan Watson can get all these players and put this good of a group together.
And one of the things I find really cool is you have the team you think you're going to have at the beginning of the year is completely taken by the Detroit Red Wings. You got Axel Sandin-Pellikka, Emmett Finney, Michael Branson-Nygaard, and then you're like, okay, it's all good. We got Amadeus Lombardi and Carter Macer. Both of those guys go down. Nate Danielson goes down. And the Griffins persevere through those injuries with guys like John Leonard, Dominic Shine, Sheldon Dries, Edward Strawmax, and they just came right in and had the best start ever. And now guys like Amadeus Lombardi and Carter Macer sometime down the road might come back. Shai Boom comes back. And now it's like you got all your dudes that were from the last year playoff team. And I see huge momentum coming in.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be right to mention the first half of this season without the veterans that the Grand Rapids Griffins received from Detroit early on in the season. We have Gustafson and Hall down here playing their part as top pairing defensemen here for Grand Rapids. It's been super fun to watch. Every game's been electric so far this season. big credit to, some of the decisions that were made by Steve Yzerman in this offseason to bring talent in and allow some of the talent from the Red Wings to trickle down into this Grand Rapids roster because it is helping big time. So through this season so far, we've seen Gustafsson go up to the Red Wings. We've seen John Leonard go up to the Red Wings. Sheldon Dries, who just received a 2-year contract by the Red Wings. Good to see that. And Danielson is the biggest one here. Got some time up in the Detroit Red Wings and is now back in Grand Rapids. So
he actually is recovering from an injury. He was injured, just came back, but before that, he had like nine points in 10 games. So he was looking really good before that. And yeah, we like to see him come back and continue at that kind of pace, and he'll be up in the winged wheel in no time.
Can't forget to mention our walleye attributors. We got Jacob Truscott and Nolan Moyle and Chad Hillenbrand and Carter Geilander, who have all contributed to the Griffins' success when there have been injuries and up and down movement where we've needed the extra talent. So thank you to those guys as well. The Griffins have been named some All-Stars for the 2026 All-Star fiasco going down in Rockford, Illinois this year at the BMO Center. The AHL has named John Leonard, Dominic Shine, and Sebastian Kosa are all AHL All-Stars representing the Grand Rapids Griffins this season.
And you cannot forget head coach Dane Watson is also representing the Central Division in the AHL All-Stars. Fans can get tickets to that too. So if you visit the AHL, you can get tickets to that. It's a really fun thing. It's like the NHL All-Star game. They do some skills competitions, some mascot stuff. It's a really fun time. So
actually, it's very entertaining to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty rare for us to get an opportunity like this. So it's going to be in Rockford, Illinois, and then it's going to go to Chicago, I believe, next year or somewhere else close. So there's like 2 opportunities for anyone that's like a Grand Rapids Griffins fan or a Detroit Red Wings fan in the Michigan area to get out there and witness it. So if you got some free time, check it out. You won't be disappointed.
So that'll lead us to the stats and standings section, where we'll kind of talk about the standings first, where we will get into the Central Division, where your Griffins are in first place with 33 wins, 6 losses, 2 overtime losses, and 1 shootout loss for a total of 69 points, winning 82.1% of their games. In second place, we have the Chicago Wolves with 52 points. In third place, we have the Manitoba Moose with 45 points. In fourth place, we have the Texas Stars with 44 points. In fifth place, the Milwaukee Admirals with 42 points. In sixth place, the Rockford Ice Hogs with 36 points. And in seventh place, the Iowa Wild with 29 points.
Yeah, so a lot's gone down. A lot's been mixed up here. Chicago came down from near the bottom and started slaying. The next team behind the Griffins, they kind of formed themselves a little bit of a gap between them and the Manitoba Moose, who are doing pretty good. And then the Texas Stars, who was at the bottom below the Wild, actually rose up to fourth place past the Ice Hogs and the Admirals. The Ice Hogs fell down, and the Admirals are kind of floating there.
Yeah, and that matchup this weekend, fiercely competitive between the Chicago Wolves and the Grand Rapids Griffins. So that number 1 and number 2 spot, it's going to be played for sure.
So now we're going to kind of get into the team stats here.
Yeah, we'll talk about special teams, where first place in the league for penalty kill at 85.8%. Tack on a 6 shorthanded goals there. Been a pretty elite shorthanded group. And as far as the power play goes, we are 16th in the league at 19.2%, scoring 24 goals on 125 opportunities.
Really good penalty kill this year. A high success rate. We've kept the defense out of in front of the goalie, which we kind of had struggles with like last year. We didn't have really anyone to clear in front of the net and get dudes away from the crease. And I've noticed a lot of our defenders this year do that because they're kind of NHL veterans. And Tuomisto, huge step up from Tuomisto this year.
Yeah, and big shout out to Shine. Obviously, always a big shout out to Shine on the penalty kill. He's been leading that group for years, and looks like Alex Kannok-Leipert blocking shots and being a fierce competitor out there on special teams as well.
The power play, on the other hand, has kind of struggled for the most part. I mean, it's not like as bad as it has been in the recent years, but it's still not that great. On 5-on-5, the Griffins are fabulous and great on scoring. So for us to not be as good on 5-on-4, it's frustrating for the coaches and the team. You'd think it'd be easier with less guys out there, but hey, we have the talent there to have a great penalty power play.
Yeah, and the power play has been led by John Leonard, of course, Sheldon Dreiss, and Michael Brentz-Nygaard. And then we can't also forget that Andre Becker is leading the team in power play assists with 7. So there's your kind of power play leaders there. Talking about Griffins for team stats, that should probably wrap this up, and we can go into the players individually.
And how we'll do this, we'll kind of start with goalies, go to defense, and then go to the forwards. And then we'll go over their stats and their contributions and what we've observed so far.
Starting with goalies for the Griffins, obviously Sebastian Cossa has led the way. With 24 games played, he's come up with 18 wins. He has a goals against average of 1.99, so under 2, and a save percentage of 0.927. He has remained in the top, being AHL Player of the Week multiple times. He's been a number 1 goalie across the league all season long.
Yeah, he's pretty much held the number 1 or the number 2 spot for a majority of the season. He's had under a 2.5 goals against average all season and a above 90 save percentage, and that's what you're looking for in a prospect goalie in the AHL. So yeah, Costa's been really good. He's taken a brunt of the workload. He looks like he's gotten better at getting over to the other side of the net. He stays more in the net like he should. In the past, he's kind of wandered out of the net a little more than you'd want, but he's been holding his position, and so far he's had a generally solid season.
Yeah, I'd say he's done as expected from Sebastian Cossa. I'm almost at this point a little shocked he hasn't gone up to the NHL. I know Talbot and Gibson have been relatively solid for the Red Wings, but Sebastian Cossa, I think at this point, needs to get his feet a little wetter than he has last season, more than 1 or 2 games. So I think get this guy up there, get him a couple chances in a Red Wings jersey, and get him down here. Get him back down here for the playoffs so that we have our elite goalie with a little bit of NHL time under his belt.
Yeah, I think he's definitely ready to get a chance up there. Take the wind and take the reins of the Detroit Red Wings by any means. More of a trial, get him some more experience up there, and yeah, send him back down for the playoffs. And if he can power through these playoffs and get really deep and have a really good run, maybe next year at camps when you start talking about is Cossa ready for the full-time jump over to goalie, and that'll only determine itself in time. But so far, he had a great start of the year this year. Last year, at this point, he started to fall off because of the major workload he had. The splitting up between 3 goalies also at the beginning of the season interfered with that. And the next thing you know, he has full-time Cossa, and you can't overwork a goalie. We'll see how it gets near the end of the year, see if he can pull through.
Yeah, and with the return of Michael Pistava, who we'll talk about next, Sebastian Cossa has had that friendly competition again. So
I'm going to give Cossa an A so far. I can't say you can really expect more from him. I think if we called them up, we could have done more for him. But that's not the case, and he's been down getting all the solid minutes. So for what he's been given, I give him an A.
Yeah, I give him an A too. And the guy's got 4 shutouts. He's played a stellar season. He hasn't got scored on a single time in the shootout. So Yeah, I'm all about Sebastian Cossa getting his dues, going up to the Red Wings sometime here soon, and being one of those guys that makes a difference in this organization. So Sebastian Cossa is our only qualified goaltender so far this year, with qualified goalies playing over 840 minutes. So we can get into Michael Postava. Michael Postava's played 12 games for the Grand Rapids Griffins. He has 8 wins, a goals against average of 1.63, and a save percentage of 0.940. Stellar numbers there for 12 games, and 2 shootouts, both of them back-to-back as soon as he returned from an injury.
That makes him the 10th franchise goalie that makes him the 10th goalie in franchise history to get back-to-back shutouts. So that's really cool for him. He came in starting the season, Matt going back-to-back with Cossa. I felt like they were both impressing everyone. And then Postava and Cossa both went down with injuries. We had to pull up Gylander, and we had Dustin Tokarski come in for a game. Cossa came back, and Postava missed a actually pretty big chunk of time, which is why he's not qualified, or else he would be qualified. Carter Gylander came in, took over there for a minute, but Michael Postava's been back, and he's been on fire. He looks great. Right there, rivaling Cossa again.
Yeah, and I'm all about the healthy competition. It shows a great organizational goaltender depth when you put Sebastian Cossa and Michael Postava at your 3 and 4 goaltenders, because they have been ripping it up here in the AHL, bolstered by this incredible defense here, who we'll get into shortly. But Michael Postava has been nothing but incredible. A great offseason decision for Steve Yzerman to sign Postava and bring him to Grand Rapids for this season. We've enjoyed him. He's just given the Grand Rapids Griffins just a little bit more safety, feeling like there's a solid future here without Sebastian Cossa. I mean, and obviously giving Cossa that friendly competition where the job's just not given to Cossa anymore. He has to earn it. So it's been fun to watch, and the chemistry those two have had out there has been great so far as well. So watching the goalie room this year has been nothing but fun. But yeah, Michael Postava, love it. Love the red pads, and just holding that .940 after 12 games so far. It's really hard to do as a goaltender in this league.
Yeah, so I would give Michael Postava a A-, because of injury, that's part of it. I know it's unfortunate because it's an injury, but that does mark you down a little bit because you missed that time and you have less games played. So I can't give you an A and match it with Cossa because of the workload. So we're gonna give him an A-, even like a B+. But he's been very impressive.
Agreed. So then we'll talk about Carter Gylander. Carter Gylander stepped in big time when Postava was injured. So 7 games played for Gylander, 6 wins, a save percentage of 0.943, and a stellar goals against average of 1.57. Actually, I'm pretty sure with any goalie that's played 7 games, that's probably some of the better numbers you will ever see in the AHL.
Yeah. So I honestly have to give him an A also, because he's called from the ECHL, which is a much less intense league than the AHL. He comes in and puts up better numbers than Cossa. So I say A. You can't really ask for much more. I mean, if you look down at Toledo, his numbers aren't as good because he's played more games. But for his time here in Grand Rapids, you got to give him an A also.
Yeah, he's played more games in the ECHL, and he's also had a way better defense up here in the AHL. So gotta love what Carter Gylander has given this team, and hope for his continued growth. I would also give him an A. So
yeah, yep.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about Dustin Tokarski. He only played 2 games, was on a short-lived PTO, but thank you for playing those games. You stepped in when needed. That should get us into the defensive room.
So here for the defenseman portion, we're going to start with Eric Gustafsson. Eric Gustafson, he's played 22 games, which is actually one of the least amount of points games played for Griffins, and he has 20 points with leading the defensive room in points. So obviously the best defensive guy so far for the Griffins.
Yeah, no one really expected Eric Gustafson to come down and play for the Grand Rapids Griffins. It was kind of a last-minute decision before the season. And the fact that he was down here and such a great team player about it, getting those 22 games played with 2 goals and 18 assists for 20 points with a plus 18, just absolutely stellar out there. Just now finally getting that call up back to the Detroit Red Wings, getting some game time in. Well-deserved as he played his role as, the 7th defenseman, one would say, of an organization.
Yeah, he contributes really good down here when he's down here. He looks too good to be in the AHL. That's what me and Kyle decided. We just looked at each other like he is too good to be down here, which is why he's been getting the call-ups before anyone else. And with a plus 18, plus minus, looking really good. Our team looks much better with Eric Gustafson at the helm. So, Kyle, what are you going to give him for a grade?
Well, for being on Grand Rapids, I mean, an A, and that's nothing. It's not like that wasn't going to be expected. That's not a surprise to anybody. He's getting an A. He's got almost a point per game down here, and he's just bolstered every number across the board. A lot of these franchise records that we broke are thanks to him and the players that he's helped leading in this room. So, yeah, big time thanks to Gustafson for his time down here at Grand Rapids this year.
Yeah, he was essentially brought in for a Shane Gostisbehere replacement with a more defensive ability. Up in Detroit, you didn't really see that offensive side, but down here, you definitely see it, and he's a valuable asset. So, yeah, let's move on to our next defenseman. We got Ante Tuomisto. Ante Tuomisto, I gotta say, has been my most impressive player so far this year. Signing a 1-year make or break it deal in the offseason. He was kind of reaching that age where, you're maybe not you're a great defenseman, but you're not good enough for the NHL. We're gonna give you 1 more year to prove it. I think he's stepped up majorly this year. I think he's really proved himself. He's sitting there with 18 points, 18 plus minus, 6 goals, 12 assists. He's dialed in that laser shot that he's always had, and he's clearing the net. He's a big presence, and he shuts dudes down. I mean, you can't complain. You'd almost put him in a top 5 for this season just because of the improvement.
Yeah, what I see with Tuomisto, especially when I look at the stats, I mean, 41 games played, and he's played a lot of these as the top pairing defenseman most nights for Grand Rapids. So you're really looking at a guy who's putting in the workload and has absolutely improved as the season has gone along. He is, I'd say, above what we really initially expected from Tuomisto this year. And watching him develop his ability to use a stick, he tends to be a little slower than a lot of the offensive players of opposing teams, but he uses his stick and his body in a way that allows him to stay in position and not allow him to get burned too much, which is really good to see this year. That's an improvement from last year. So I do have to give Ante Tuomisto an A-.
Yeah, I give him an A- also. So next we have Ian Mitchell. Ian Mitchell has played 31 games for the Grand Rapids Griffins. He's got 4 goals, 10 assists for 14 points with a plus 16.
I like Ian Mitchell. I think it's a great decision for him to be brought over to the team this year. He's another one of those mid players that could possibly get a call up to the Detroit Red Wings. We were wondering if, maybe he would push for the team in camp. Looks like Bernard Docker got the job. And Ian Mitchell comes to Grand Rapids and just plays his head off every night. He's got the 31 games played. So he's in the kind of rotation with the veteran group, and he's just looked good playing his part. He's had some game winners. He's had some big key moments, some random breakaway goals. Odd things have happened with Ian Mitchell this season, but for the most part, he's been consistent, and that's what matters.
Yeah, he looks great. I can't complain. I'm gonna give him a solid B.
Yeah, I'll give him a B as well.
So let's get into William Wallander. He's one of the big ones people probably want to hear about more, considering he was such a big name. Played over with Morty Sider and Rogel. Morty Sider left, and he kind of stepped up and took those minutes from Sider and looked like another second Sider. Comes to Grand Rapids with Edvinsson. Edvinsson kind of proves to be the better of the two there. Edvinsson leaves. You kind of think of William Wallander to kind of take that role like he did when Sider left. He didn't necessarily do it. Ended his season last year in a really bad fashion, pickpocketed in the playoffs, ending the season. This year he comes out, looks really good at first, kind of has a slump, and I feel like after that little slump, he's kind of stepped it up. He's looked really good. He's played 41 games, tied with Tuomisto for most for defensemen on our team. He has 1 goal, which is a really nice goal coming right over the line, right past the goalie, a great shot up in the corner. He has 13 assists and 14 points with a plus 15. So he's had some bad games, but he's looking a lot better. And yeah, he's holding down the defensive position pretty good.
Yeah, and he's another one of those defensemen on the team, like Connor was saying. He's with Tuomisto. He's got 41 games played, so he's a guy that the Griffins want on the ice every night. He is one of these prospects, maybe a little bit of a late bloomer, some people are saying now. But Valinder is getting his chances, and at this point, it looks like he's finally coming around, as Connor was saying. It's taken him a minute. We've seen some iffy games and some things that you don't really want to see from a top prospect defenseman. But at this point, I don't know what happened halfway through the season, but the dude's all of a sudden getting feisty. He's pushing guys around. He's standing up for his teammates. William Valinder maybe getting some of these leadership qualities from some of these NHL veterans that he's playing with. Now he's starting to catch on, tag along, and learn. And he's not just in a room full of young guys. He's actually picking up and learning and developing, and it's good to see William Valinder kind of taking hold. And in these 41 games, looks like he's starting to turn it around and be one of these top 4 defensemen for Grand Rapids.
Yeah. So we gave him a B.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a B as well. I almost leaning towards B minus just because of the fact that
the ups and downs on
it's
him.
been a little more of a roller coaster than, say, like Tuomisto has been, a little more consistently and on the rise. I think Valinder's been a little more wavy with his progression.
Yeah, so let's get to William Lagesson. William Lagesson, he's kind of taken that leadership role I've noticed on this defense. He's kind of there. He's led the team for plus minus for a majority of the year. He has played 32 games. He has 3 goals, 10 assists for 13 points with a 23 plus minus, still leading the Griffins in plus minus. I mean, he just does everything right out there. He's really great defensively. He's not a defensive liability. He can come up, play up on the offensive line, keep the puck in really good. You can't complain about a guy like that. Another guy who can probably get the call up to Detroit. Another guy who probably shouldn't necessarily be playing all this AHL time. But he's 7th D-man kind of guy, and we got like 4 or 5 of those dudes here. So he's defaulted down to Grand Rapids, and he's doing great.
Yeah, and of course for these guys, it's like almost hard for them not to do great. But Lagesson, I feel like, has been pushed into a lot more of those minutes as of late, with Gustafsson being called up. Paul's kind of in flux as well currently, but Lagesson has been there throughout the season, playing those veteran rotational minutes. A lot of these veterans have, just like Lagesson has 32 games, Ian Mitchell has 31 games. They've been in steady rotation, keeping their legs good, and they've all been able to perform. And again, they're all a key contributing factors of the Grand Rapids Griffins' hot start to the season. Lagesson is no exception, and the plus 23 says it all. Being that much of a positive contribution on the ice, in and out every night that you've been out there for only 32 games, that's something to speak for.
Absolutely. So what are you going to give him?
A.
Yeah, I give him an A also. All right, let's get to Justin Hall. Everyone on Red Wings, he recently just got called up. Everyone's like, oh no, the season's over. Not the case down here in Grand Rapids. Justin Hall has been an absolute stud down here. He clears the net. He has a physical presence. He shuts guys down coming in the zone. As they come in the zone, he just has a great leadership quality in the locker room also. He hasn't complained about being down here. So everything good. He's played 32 games. He's got 2 goals, 9 assists for 11 points with a plus 18, right up there with the other leaders of the plus minus. So yeah, Justin Hall's been great.
Yeah, and again, in that veteran rotation with the rest of them, they're all getting their chances. And, when it comes, they've all performed like plug and play. Doesn't seem to matter exactly which one you put in with all these guys. They all just play a steady role. Whatever role you really ask of them, they're going to do it. So they're able to do that, and the fact that they're able to do that speaks volumes for all 4 of these NHL ready defensemen that we've kind of covered with Gustafsson, Mitchell, Lagesson, and Hall. They'll all do what you ask them to do in the league at this level, and they're all kind of making sure they're putting up enough of a show to stay of interest to maybe other teams come trade deadline. So can't forget about that. They're all trying to put on the best show that they can so that they're being noticed by other teams as well. And that goes for all 4 of these guys. But Justin Hall, I got to give him probably a B. I wouldn't say he's doing quite as good as Lagesson. I know the plus minus is just a little bit different there. I think Lagesson just been more of a positive contributor, and it shows.
Yeah, definitely on the points and everything, and the plus minus and all. So, yeah, I'd say a B also.
Yeah, so we could talk about Alex Kannok-Leipert now. I like to call him AKL, or Alex Knockout Leipert, because he has 40 penalty minutes, and most of them are due to fighting majors. So Alex Kannok-Leipert has played in 39 games this season, almost up there with the 41 of Vlinder and Tuomisto. So he's a guy that's in there night in and night out. He's played a lot of minutes on the penalty kill, this number 1 penalty kill that the Grand Rapids Griffins have. He has maybe not put up a whole lot of points, but he has not been afraid or hesitant to shoot the puck when it comes to him. He seems like a shoot-first mentality when he's in the offensive zone. And, man, is he scrappy in the defensive zone. It is fun to watch him down there fighting for his position.
Yeah, he's got 1 goal, 8 assists for 9 points with a plus 7. He has more of an aggressive style, so you can see he's got a little more of a defensive liability for him. He's more of your slam kind of guy. Go slam him, go fight him, get in his face, shoot the puck. That's the kind of style he is of a defender. So I'd give him a B.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Kannok-Leipert this year. He's signed in the offseason from the Bakersfield Condor, so he's a young guy coming over and, just making an impression here, just adding to the physicality that this team needs.
Shai Boom, he's only played 9 games this year. He's got 0 goals, 1 assist, and a -6.
Yeah, it's hard to put Shai Boom in here considering he didn't play for the first half of the season hardly. He came back just recently in January. And, I mean, so far, from what we've seen, it's been a little bit of a struggle for Shai Boom. He's got the 1 assist out of the way at least, but he's been a -6. And as the Griffins have come back to earth, and it's been a little bit of a struggle as of late in this 3-game losing streak, he's been a part of it for sure. I mean, it's a little bit of adding new guys to this already fluent system, and once you start adding these guys that haven't skated all year, things get changed up a little bit. Lombardi also coming back, so just a little bit of the change up in the locker room, and it shows impact on the ice.
Yeah, you can definitely see that he's not necessarily up to speed. He's just got to get in there. He's played 9 games, so you can't expect much from him. He'll get there. He had a great training camp. He was looking like the best defender, one of the best guys coming in the right before the season, before that injury. So,
yeah, really just hoping the best for Shai Boom. Hopefully, when we were talking in our end of season review, that Shai Boom is back on the top of the prospect list here.
yeah. So that we have one more, well, two more technically. We have two former Michigan guys. We'll start with Jacob Truscott, who's only played 6 games. He's got 0 goals, 2 assists for 2 points and a +3. There's not really much to judge him on. He looked really good for when he was here, and he's looked good down in Toledo. So
yeah, Jacob Truscott's been fun to watch this year. The 6 games that were closer to the beginning of the year hasn't really played since, especially now that Shai Boom has returned. Unless there's some sort of shakeup at the deadline, I don't see Truscott getting a whole lot more games. But I thought he looked, maybe not exactly in place out there. He looked maybe a step behind, but he was able to come up with 2 assists, and they were really good offensive plays. So I do see some potential for him out there on the team with Grand Rapids.
absolutely, yeah, I'd give him probably a C+ just because he only played a little bit and he didn't really look like he was contributing much, and he got sent down to Toledo. So
yeah, I mean, in 6 games, he got 2 points and he's a +3. You can't complain too much. And
no,
love to see the guy back on the ice, but like I said, until there's some shift up in the roster logjam, we probably will not be seeing Jacob Truscott for a minute. That should wrap us up for the defensemen. We're going to go ahead and get into our DraftKings ad before we get into the long list of forwards.
DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, is built for the fastest game on ice. With player props, live betting, every shift, every shot, every save gives you options to get in on the game with DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers, bet $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sports app and use code XXX. That's code XXX to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas. Wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus in most states. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright 2026 NHL. All rights reserved.
welcome back to the show. So now we're going to get into our long list of forwards, starting with the most notable, John Leonard. So John Leonard is leading the team in points and goals. He's got 32 games played, 26 goals, 14 assists for 40 points with a +9. John Leonard was an addition from the Charlotte Checkers last year. They made a deep playoff run, and John Leonard leading the way for them. A great signing by Sean Horkoff in the offseason to bring over John Leonard, because he is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, he's been really fun to watch this year, scoring many multi-point games. Had a hat trick the other night. He's been stellar on the power play, just as far as game-winning goals. He's been shooting the puck more than anybody on the team. And, yeah, John Leonard's just absolutely put on a show for the Grand Rapids Griffins this year, leading this incredible team to an incredibly hot first half of the season.
Yeah, he's probably going to be the first Griffin to score 30 goals in a long time. We have not had a 30-goal scorer.
Yeah, and the man was at some point in the season 1.5 points per game. He's currently a point and a quarter, 1.25. But yeah, he has been that hot, and he's been through most of the season number one on top of the goals list. So even during his call-ups to the Detroit Red Wings where he wasn't playing games, he remained on top of the goals list and managed quite a lead. So
yeah, and going up to the Detroit Red Wings, he did not look out of place. He actually filled in there for Patrick Kane on the second line there and didn't miss a beat, it seemed like. He looked really good. He got 2 goals up there. I mean, if needed be, John Leonard could come right up, but it turns out you can only play 10 games up there you can only play 10 games and to not pass through waivers. So at 9 games, they sent him back down to the Griffins. So the Griffins have him. I would not be shocked if an emergency injury happens or something big happens that they do call him up. And that will be the last the Griffins ever see of John Leonard if he gets called up to the Red Wings, because he will not make it through waivers.
No, and the fact the Red Wings have opportunity. If John Leonard is to be the only guy to call up, it would kind of be a shock. I mean, the fact that we do have these other players that are contract eligible to be up and down, and the fact that we have Dominic Shine, Sheldon Dries, and this long list of players who are ready to go. I think it's safe to say that they're going to try to hold their cards and keep John Leonard in Grand Rapids. But like Connor said, in emergency situations, if the Detroit Red Wings need scoring ability, John Leonard will be the first call-up.
Another thing is trade deadline's approaching. He could be a high trade asset. He could be the thing that tips a trade over to the making the other team say yes. I mean, he's a good asset, so don't be shocked if he's packaged up in a trade either.
So John Leonard, got to give him an A to start the season. He's been nothing short of amazing and just so fun to watch. And yeah, I'm sure he's like, I've done everything I could to get up to the Detroit Red Wings. So at this point, I think it's just a matter of Yzerman holding his cards through the season.
Yeah, I give him an A also.
So we'll get into Dominic Shine, who deserves a ton of credit and recognition for how this season has been going. His first season as tenure of captain, Dominic Shine, with 29 games played, did experience some injury woes just as of late, but during the first half of the season, he's managed 15 goals, 14 assists for 29 points, and a plus 16 along the way, while still being pesky Dominic Shine, throwing monster hits and getting 30 penalty minutes along the way. Dominic Shine continues to be himself and improve all in the same.
Yeah, and he continues to do that crazy stuff with his stick. He'll just poke it right from under you, steal it from you, turn it over in your own zone, and get an opportunity that you never thought would have even happened. Yeah, Dom Shine definitely going to get an A.
Yeah, for sure an A. And something I noticed this year is putting Michael Brenzig-Nygaard with Dominic Shine might be the best thing you've ever seen. Those two playing forecheck together, just relentless. And the fact that Michael Brenzig-Nygaard gets an opportunity to learn from Dominic Shine here in Grand Rapids all day. Let's do it.
Yep.
So we'll go on to number 3. We'll talk about Sheldon Dries, who is tied for Dominic Shine in points with 29. But in 34 games played, he's got 15 goals for 14 assists, and he is a plus 14.
So Sheldon Dries, he's there every night. He's one of those veterans. He's one of those guys that wears the A. He lives up to that A. He's an absolute stud on this team. Yeah, Sheldon Dries looking absolutely amazing so far this year. Definitely wearing that A, the assistant captain. He lives up to that every day in the locker room. He is a true leader to this team, and it shows. He's part of that veteran core that gets you deep in the playoffs in an AHL roster.
Yeah, he's done well enough this year to deserve a re-signed contract for Sheldon Dries. I believe it was a 2-year contract just announced. That was good to see, as we really appreciate having Sheldon Dries in the system. He's leading the team with power play goals with 6, and he's been probably our most reliable center throughout the season, taking key power play faceoffs. And we got to mention some of the heroics Dries has performed here as of late. They'll hit at center ice, and when they came to defend their teammate, Sheldon Dries also hammered that guy to the ice as well. So just some incredible moments for Sheldon Dries. When John Leonard went up to the Red Wings, Sheldon Dries took over as the lead scorer, going 4 games in a row with 2 points. So Sheldon Dries, without a doubt, has been one of these key assets to the Grand Rapids Griffins this season. Then we'll talk about Michael Brandsegg-Nygaard. So Michael Brandsegg-Nygaard, who started the season for the Detroit Red Wings, was dropped down to the Grand Rapids Griffins. He has played 37 games now. He has 8 goals, 17 assists for 25 points, and has just been a wrecking ball while still playing the positive side with a impressive plus 17.
Yeah, some people call him the bull in the china shop. I mean, for a small guy, not a small guy, but not that big of a guy, he packs the punch to knock you right down to the ground. He'll steal the puck from you. He's learning from Dominic Shine. These guys are relentless on their forecheck, like Kyle was saying earlier, and he's really good in game winners. He likes to get game winning goals, and that's a huge clutch thing that you need to have. Him being a first round pick by the Detroit Red Wings, that's means they have huge faith in him, and I think it was a great pick. I think he'll be competing for a Red Wings roster spot come next year, if not hold up at some point, even this year.
Yeah, and I believe he had 5 game-winning goals, which I want to say is leading for rookies in the AHL. And just overall, yeah, Michael Brandsegg-Nygaard, we are excited to have him here in Grand Rapids as he has put on a show. He's been exciting on the power play. His one-timer is no joke. When that puck comes across from a defenseman onto his stick, it's coming on that, and he can beat the goalie really quick. So Michael Brandsegg-Nygaard, we love to watch him. I got to give him a B+.
Yep, I give him a B+ also. You could almost even argue an A. But yeah,
25 points as a rookie, not bad halfway through the season.
I think he's coming for that Jonathan Bergeron point record. Most points by a rookie. Let's see if he can get to it.
So we're going to talk about Edward Stralmax next.
So Edward Stralmax played 42 games. He has 17 goals, 6 assists for 23 points with a plus 21. The dude's been an absolute addition. He's a little older than your regular prospect, but he blew it up in overseas last year, coming in the Olympics, playing amazing. Signing him, he's a big guy. He kind of replaced that Tim Gettinger aspect, but he still has that potential to make the Red Wings and do great things. I mean, he's a big guy, and he knows how to control the puck and score goals.
Yeah, he's much more aggressive than a Tim Gettinger, I would say, as he has fought his way to 17 goals. He's got a lethal shot. The dude really has impressed throughout the season. I would not be shocked if needing a call-up that they give this kid a chance just because of the numbers he's put up and how much of an impact he has been, with a plus 21 being number 2 on the team overall. Edward Stralmax has been nothing short of amazing. Great addition to this team, and I'm glad we got this guy from Latvia. So I'm giving Edward Stralmax an A.
Yeah, I'm giving him an A too. So then we got Amadeus Lombardi. Amadeus Lombardi, we would say he was probably our core roster guy. You know, he was like our core prospect returning for the Griffins last year. Him and Mazer Mazer goes down, leaving him. He goes down for a while. He just comes back. It looked like he was kind of working off some rust the first couple games, but he just had a 3-point game. He's been explosive with the assists this year. For 22 games, he has 5 goals, 15 assists for 20 points with a +9. You can't ask much for. I mean, he's all the way up in the top 6 for the Grand Rapids Griffins, and he's only played like half the games than most of them. So that just shows how good he is. He's amazing. He's fast. He has really good stick control. He's kind of has some of that Dasukian blood in him, it seems. He's got some really good moves. Yeah, Amadeus Lombardi, looking great.
I love watching Amadeus Lombardi, and it looks like he's regaining some of that magic since returning from injury. He could have had 2 goals the other night and 3 points the other night, but it was a very, it was a long wait for Lombardi to get back on the ice after what I believe was a wrist injury. So being able to regather your shot after a wrist injury, not always the easiest thing. So I'm glad to see that he is throwing that puck back on net nice and hard. And his playmaking ability has not gone anywhere. He continues to dish the puck around. That assist to Watson the other night was lethal. I mean, Amadeus Lombardi just been so fun to watch, man. Probably the number 2 center here behind Sheldon Dries, but could play the number 1 easily. And given that he's got the 22 games and he's got 20 points, it's almost a point per game. So he is in that same caliber as the top tier on this team. So I easily could see him sliding up, and I don't necessarily see the Red Wings giving him a call up just because of his size at this point. I believe he is a little small and that the skill position is filled currently up in Detroit. And if there was a skill position needed, it would probably John Leonard going up. But Amadeus Lombardi easily steps in as the next skilled player. And like Connor said, the creativity with the stick, the ability to play make, it is very reminiscent of like a Pavel Datsyuk Jr.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd give him a B just because of the injury. You can't give him too high, but he's performed exceedingly well. Well, he's performed very well for the time he's been in, so I'm going to give him a B, even a B plus possibly. But because of that injury, you have to give him that setback, so I'd say B.
Yeah, and hopefully, just like we were talking about with Shai Boom, hopefully Amadeus Lombardi is one of those players that is rewarding an A by the end of the season. I don't see why he couldn't get there. Then we'll talk about Andre Becker.
Andre Becker's played 37 games. He's got 4 goals, 14 assists for 18 points with a +7. Yeah, Andre Becker, he's played great. He was a first-year guy he was drafted last year, came in the first year of his draft, played really good last year, and he's just continued on that pace this year. Playing some valuable top 6 minutes, playing in the top 9 for the most part. I mean, he's played great. He has really good playmaking ability. He can get the puck out to the outsides. He's smart with the puck. He has some good IQ, and yeah, he's just going to get better. So watch for Andre Becker to start exploding in this next couple of years.
Yeah, like Connor said, slightly older out of the draft, a 3rd-round pick that plays his first year immediately onto the Grand Rapids Griffins. A lot of people keyed him in. He is kind of a third-line center. He takes a lot of those face-offs, some of them on the power play. He's been very fun to watch on the power play as he has 7 assists, 0 goals with 7 assists. He's been the playmaker out there in a lot of situations, especially during the absence of Amadeus Lombardi. He kind of picked up that playmaking role out there on the power play, being able to find the open man and get it to them. So Andre Becker, big time stepping up. I thought he started the season a little slow, but with the rush of talent we had, he kind of found his way to the top, back into the top 10 in the team. So really looking for a lot of Andre Becker, and it's been fun to watch him.
Yeah,
I give him a B plus.
Yeah, I give him B plus also. So let's get to Tyler Angle. Tyler Angle was like a last minute addition during the offseason. All those guys went up to the Detroit Red Wings and someone needed to fill a position. So Tyler Angle got the call, comes to the Griffins and plays great. I mean, he's had an amazing run. He's played 37 games for us, 3 goals, 14 assists, 17 points with a +9. I think he's really helped out in the playmaking aspect. I really think he makes some really good plays happen. He gets the puck where a lot of people can't get the puck, shooting it, making really good passes, and getting the puck where it needs to be. He also makes really good stick moves, some really tricky stuff. Tyler Angle's played great. Great addition.
Yeah, and he's someone that's been around the league before in the AHL. He was a Cleveland Monster in the past. He ended up moving over to the DEL last season. So picking him up, bringing him back into the AHL, he's put on a good show for us. We're happy to have him here. He's definitely, when he came over, he started really hot. We were kind of blown away by how good he was doing. He was with the top 6 group. It seems like since then, maybe he's taken a little bit of a step back and maybe traded positions with Becker as Becker kind of started slow and is now hot. I think it's a little bit opposite with Angle. Angle's maybe taking a little more, a couple of the games off as of late and not finding his way onto the scoreboard as often. So hopefully Angle kind of gets back out there. And again, just another one of those mature, smart players out there that's just constantly finding a way to get himself into the lineup and make key contributions night in, night out.
Yeah, I'd give Angle a B. I think he's done what he's needed to do. I don't think it'd be fair to get him any lesser anymore.
Yeah, and he's been consistent. The 37 games we've needed from him. He was kind of a last-second acquisition, and we've needed him. So a B for sure.
Yeah, so let's get into our next guy, Austin Watson. So Austin Watson, he's our big bad man, I'd say. He's a big scary guy. He's played in the AHL a long time. He's one of our big leadership veterans. He's played 34 games with 9 goals for 6 assists with 15 points with a +6. He has played his part exactly how he has. He's in people's face. He doesn't let the young guys get picked on. He can score. He can play on every aspect. He's defensively responsible for the most part. I mean, can't complain. I'm going to give him a B.
And Austin Watson out of Ann Arbor, right? So native to Michigan. Really like having this guy on your team, no matter what team it is, whether it's going to be in Detroit or Grand Rapids. This guy fills his role through the organization as the gritty bruiser. He's been a great guy to have, and the guy can put the puck in the net when you give him the chance, and he's not gonna, show mercy to any opposing team any night, or the refs. So gotta love Austin Watson out there. He's been impressive. I will give him probably a B-. It seems like he's taken a little bit of a step down. I feel like he needs a Nate Danielson to protect sometimes, but it's been fun to watch Austin Watson. And, Alex Kannok-Leipert and Carson Banel have been handling a little bit of the fighting this year. So yeah, Austin Watson hasn't had to do all of it.
Yeah, so we'll get on to Jacob Rokowski. Rokowski's played 42 games with 3 goals, 10 assists for 13 points with a +8.
Yeah, Rokowski's an interesting one. I think when you look at this guy, we signed him. He was the top scorer in the Czech League 2 years ago. Bring him on his first season. He plays. He starts to get hot last November, gets injured, basically misses the rest of the season. And now we're looking at this year. He's played every game for the Grand Rapids Griffins this year. He's got 3 goals, 10 assists for 13 points. And it's good to see him performing night in and night out. I don't necessarily think he's been the biggest impact, but he's been playing a decent, smart game. Most of the time, third, fourth pairing. A lot of the time, him and Seeger are out there to start the opening face-off, and it's kind of cool to see them get that opportunity. But yeah, Rajkowski, I gotta give him probably a C+. I think with the amount of time and opportunities had, I'd like to see the leading goal scorer of the Czech League maybe put some more pucks in the net, but maybe they're still to come. So
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't been too flashy, but he's held down on both sides of the ice. He's kind of been reliable. You don't really think of him as a liability. He does what he needs to do. He's not showing those numbers, but he's also hasn't been given the opportunity to produce those numbers. I'd kind of put him in the same boat as Alex Doucette, which we'll talk about shortly. Two former high goal scorers, but they're playing on bottom line minutes, and that's not really their game plan as much. But you can't really expect them to win the job over some of these studs we have. So
yeah. I do appreciate Dan Watson's willingness to just stick with Rajkowski, knowing that he's been playing a solid game. And just throughout the season, like I said, he's played 42 games and hasn't missed one. So after missing last season, it's just really good to see that Rajkowski's out there playing healthy and being one of the disciplined players when we're out there with a win. They're out there with a winning score, and he's a guy with the puck that's going to make a smart play.
Yeah, so we'll move on to Gabriel Seeger. So Gabriel Seeger, he's been playing on those bottom lines also. I think he's played good, doing what he does. Another non-too flashy player. I think he showed a little more at the end of the season last year. I'd kind of like him to step back into that position, and he was kind of looking like the best out of these lower level guys, and I feel like he's blended right in with all of them. I'd like to see him take that step again because I think he has the ability to.
Me personally, I think Seeger, I love Gabriel Seeger on the Grand Rapids Griffins. The dude's played 41 games, so he's missed one game out there. He's got the 3 goals for 7 assists, 10 points, yada, yada. Nobody cares about that when we're talking about Seeger. This guy wears his blue-collar shirt every day he's on the ice. This dude is out there making impressive plays in the offensive zone on the forecheck, grinding along the boards. Yeah, his line might not score night in, night out, but I don't care. Watching this guy work is impressive. And talk about discipline, too. The dude's only got 2 penalty minutes in 41 games played. Like, let's just be real. When the Griffins are winning, you want these guys like Seeger and Rajkowski out there to maintain, keep the puck in the offensive zone and keep it there for a long time. But we don't need to score anymore at some point. Give these guys the puck, get it down there.
Yeah. So then I would give Gabriel Seeger a B.
I give him a B as well. I think he's been impressive and playing up to expectation for a fourth line, third line player.
All right. So now we get to Nate Danielson. Nate Danielson, first round pick. He's played 12 games for 2 goals, 8 assists for 10 points with a +2.
So Nate Danielson, interesting season he's having. Getting kind of called up to the Detroit Red Wings, and MBN got sent down, but now Nate Danielson's back down here. And it's not like he's been quiet, but he's quietly having a good season still. He's still putting things together. Things are going Nate Danielson's way. He's still a key contributor on the power play. He makes great passes in the offensive zone, smart plays that keep possession, and his ability to play a two-way game is key here as the Griffins move forward. He's done really well, but I do kind of think he's being overshadowed by some of these other players like Michael Brandt-Signigaard, Amadeus Lombardi, and Edward Stralmax.
Well, I feel like he went up to the Red Wings. He had a good showing when he first started out there on the Red Wings. He comes back down because he's just not ready yet. It showed in his play. He wasn't ready. He wasn't defensively responsible enough. It wasn't working out. Send him back down. Get him some more time. He's getting more minutes down here in Grand Rapids. Comes back, plays great. He had like 9 points in 10 games. He was looking really good, and then he gets that injury, and that kind of puts him back down out of the spotlight there for a minute. He just came back, so I think Nate Danielson's gonna be a key piece moving forward. Like Kyle said, he's a first-round pick. The Wings have high hopes in him. He is one guy who you could see going in a trade here at the trade deadline. You could see him, Leonard, packaged up, and Detroit might need another defenseman there, and it's something you just might see. Something's going to happen at this trade deadline. Detroit's too good. They got too much money to not make it happen. So be expected to lose someone, and Nate Danielson's kind of one of the guys that could be targeted.
Yeah, it's an interesting case when you talk about Nate. I do believe he has been a key contributor for the organization at this point. He doesn't make a whole lot of noise doing it. He's very professional about his business. He's not a big jump up and down when he scores type of guy. That's just how Nate is. He's been there as a two-way forward throughout his time here, and it's at a point where you'd like to see him step up and kind of be a little bit more, maybe take a little bit more of that leadership and kind of step up with this younger group of guys and become one of the leaders of it. So that's what I'd like to see at an A. Otherwise, he would probably be at an A. But I think he's at a B right now.
Yeah, I agree with the B. So let's get to Carter Mazur. Carter Mazur comes in after an injury last year, gets healthy, gets injured again, and then has a great training camp, comes in and gets injured 5 games in. Carter Mazur played 5 games. He had 4 goals, 2 assists, 6 points for a +7. He was looking like the best player on the Griffins when he was healthy for those beginning games. He was the guy who was putting the goal in the net. And unfortunately, during practice, he injured himself again, and it appears to be the same kind of injury, so he's out. At this point, this injury has been reoccurring. It's not looking good for Carter Mazur. You can just hope he comes back in and shows up and continues at that pace, because now there's just guys chomping at the bit at the door, and there's a lot more competition, and he's jumping into a system where he hasn't been present for such a long time, where you don't know if he's going to mesh good, which goes back to that Shai Boom, Amadeus Lombardi first coming back, looking a little out of place. Like, can Carter Mazur come back in and do it? I'm sure he can. I'm hoping he comes back. It's looking like he probably will come back here before the end of the season, and we're hoping that he can stay healthy, because a Carter Mazur on this Griffins team will extremely make it a much more deadly team.
Yeah, without a doubt, Carter Mazur has been a just dynamite player for the Griffins. 5 games, 6 points, 4 goals, 2 assists with a +7 over 5 games. And this is after his injury in Detroit. He comes back and just instantly tears it up. He is an explosive offensive weapon, and he's also a two-way gritty player. This is the type of hockey player you really want in your organization. Second-round pick from Jackson, Michigan. Let's get this kid back on the ice. But, man, it has been a struggle. At this point, you can say his career has been plagued by injuries, and you just hope the best for him at this point. And like Connor said, he gets back out there and is still at the level of this competition with, Lombardi and Danielson and John Leonard and Sheldon Dries, all these players that are potentially moving up to the Detroit Red Wings at some point. You hope he's one of them. So still high hopes for Carter Mazur for sure.
Yep, we got about 4 guys left. We got Alex Doucette. Alex Doucette played for the Halifax Moosehead, and he had 40 goals then. He was a top scorer in his league. He comes to the Grand Rapids Griffins last year. He played a lot of time during the trade deadline period. He was actually getting top line minutes. He was on the first line, and Ever since then, he hasn't made it back up to there. And I feel like he's just been kind of playing on those lower lines like other guys. He's played 33 games with 4 goals, 2 assists, 6 points with a +5. I just personally like to see a little more from Alex Doucette.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree. It's at this point with 33 games played, you'd want him to have just a couple more numbers because it is cool. It's a big decrease from last year when you're looking at his stats. He hasn't had the game time near as many minutes. He was playing first line minutes last year when the Griffins had injury struggles and the Red Wings were sucking up players through the system. It came down to Doucette really running the show up there as a top winger, and he did fairly well. It's just kind of unfortunate to see him get kind of dropped down to the fourth line where he is delegated to the win the game role because the Griffins have been winning games. We don't really need to go out there and score points. We need to maintain possession. We need to do what it takes to just keep the puck at the other end of the rink, not necessarily send shots on net and risk turning the puck over. So he's been delegated to that kind of play. And, John Leonard puts the puck in the net, and that's kind of how it's been. So you kind of want to see Alex Doucette come up with a little more of the opportunities that he has had. Some of these turnovers and breakaways and one-timers that have gotten to him. You'd like to see a couple more of them go in the net. So I think he has been very limited this season, not getting the opportunities, but
yeah, I'm going to give him a C+.
I'll agree with that. He's made the most of the time he's been given.
So then that will bring us to Carson Bantle. Carson Bantle has played 35 games with 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points, and a +1. I just got to say Carson Bantle means a lot to that bottom line. He's got that big size. He has that grinding. He's just the kind of guy you need on the hockey team. He's kind of like him and Gabriel Seeger kind of form that role together down there, and they both do a great job killing time when needed time killed, winning the game like the same kind of position Doucette's in. I mean, these guys down there do so much for the Griffins that is unnoticed, and I just want that to be known because these guys are playing the hard minutes that no one notices.
Yeah, Carson Bantle's playing the hard 51 minutes in the penalty box. He's leading the team there. He's definitely been in a majority of the fights here, and some of them have been really fun to watch. He can throw his weight around out there. And Carson Bantle, he's a physical boy. He's, I believe, Wisconsin. And he has been fun to watch. He has been rough on the other team. And that's exactly what we need. Austin Watson can't do all of it himself. We need a couple more bigger guys that can learn from Austin Watson so we have a guy here in the future.
Yeah, I'd give him a B.
Yeah, Carson Bantle, well-deserved B for sure. And, yeah, looking at points for Carson Bantle doesn't really do you much. It's more so the blocked shots and the hits that he's laying out there and the things that you can't really find on AHL.com. So
yeah. So we got 2 more guys left. We have they're more of like walleye guys who have been coming up and playing games for us and mainly being on the walleye, but they've made their presence when they've come up. We're gonna start with Chad Hildebrand. He's played 14 games. He's got 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points with a +5. With those 14 games he played, he came up. He looked really good. He got those 2 goals. I mean, he fit right in, filled in for when we needed him. I don't see him coming up here and keeping a job up in Grand Rapids. He's more of a Toledo guy, but it's nice to see reinforcements when we need them.
Yeah, it was kind of a goofy deal with Chad Hildebrand. It was like they signed him on a PTO, and then he was down in Toledo again. Then they signed him on another PTO, and then he's down in Toledo again. And then they brought him up, and it's like he had 4 points in like his first 5 games. So he was really hot right at the start. And he's played his role since. He's been called up and been on the ice for the Griffins when they need him. And things have gone well when he's out there. He seems to be an impressive player from Western Michigan. So good to have a guy like this in the system, another local one, and someone who's not afraid to step in and perform. Just they've been there when they asked for him. I believe it kind of started with Nolan Moyle, who we can talk about in this too.
But first, we'll give him his grade. I say C. I mean a B. Sorry, B for Hildebrand.
Yeah, I'll give him a B minus. I think he started really good. If he would have continued it the way he started, he was putting pucks in that, finding assists.
He could have found a job here.
He was doing really well, but in the last 10 games or so, he slowed down for sure. And he's an ECHL player, and seeing that he gets the opportunity to be up here in the AHL is always fun, and hopefully he can make his name known. So,
yeah. So now Nolan Moyle, a former University of Michigan captain, actually played with Justin Truscott before he was captain, both Michigan guys. Nolan Moyle has played 16 games. He's got 1 goal, 1 assist for 2 points with a +5. He looked good while he was here. He hasn't been here much. He just kind of came up from Toledo and filled in where he was needed and played his job. He did great. There's not really much we can say about him, but he was there when he was needed. So I gotta give him probably a B.
Yeah, I'd say a B minus as well here. Just, they came in, they were on the ice when the Griffins were absolutely on fire. So it's not like they had a whole lot of contributions or, opportunities to blow things. It's not like they were given the first line center minutes, but Nolan Moyle stepped up, and really good to see these Michigan kids out here, fighting for a right to play in the AHL. It doesn't look like they're that far off. I think with a couple here, there time in the ECHL, they could get their role in the AHL as a bottom 6 pairing for sure.
Yeah.
So Nolan Moyle, I'll give him a B minus.
Yeah, so that wraps up the entire roster. But before we end on that, we're gonna kind of break it down to 3 stars so far for the first half of the season. I'm starting with the 3rd star. Kyle, who are we going for our 3rd star?
We're gonna give Dominic Shine 3rd star here. He's without a doubt been a key contributor. He has the 29 points. And he has absolutely, in his first year as captain, been a leader to fall behind. He has been great and been a great example of what to be as a captain.
Yeah, we kind of had it was hard to find the 3rd star. It was easier to find the 1 and 2, but we picked through it. We kind of had Sheldon Dries up there. He's tied with Shine in points. Both of those guys taking the leadership to a next level. And then Edwards Trailmax and Tuamisto were another 2 people we looked at. Edwards Trailmax kind of coming in and scoring the goals and being in the point leaders, just being such a great addition. He was up in there. And then Tuamisto for being such a turnaround player. He was up there and being so solid.
Yeah, 2 years in a row now with Tuamisto being like the top defensive player for the Grand Rapids Griffins. So keep it up, Tuamisto. Definitely getting noticed.
Yeah. So 3rd star, we got Dominic Shine. For 2nd star, we have Sebastian Kosa. Kosa just staying on top of the league in the top 5 all year. Taking the major workload for the Griffins. He's just been a phenomenal goalie. He's one of the premier goalies in the AHL, and I say he's our 2nd star so far this year.
Yeah, agreed. It's hard to deny him that when he has been in the top of the AHL the way he has been, given AHL Player of the Week, Player of the Month, and the 4 shutouts. He's been just remarkable. Again, I want to say I think it's time for him to get his feet wet while he's hot, get him up into the Red Wing system, and give this kid a chance to show what he's worth before it's too late. So that will be for our 2nd star, Sebastian Kosa.
Yeah. So for our 1st star, it's pretty self-explanatory. We're going to have to go with John Leonard. leading the AHL in points and goals for most of the season, bouncing back and forth on the top leaders, getting called up to Detroit and playing so good up there in Detroit. John Leonard is going to be our first star here.
Yeah, without a doubt, just been remarkable. I mean, I don't think anyone watching the Grand Rapids Griffins last season could have predicted what would happen this season the way it has. Everyone knew John Leonard was going to be a threat to come in, and when we signed him, but holy crap, has this guy turned the dial to full, and Grand Rapids Griffins and John Leonard have unleashed on their opponents. And yeah, it's fun to see this guy put multi-point nights up night after night. So, of course, John Leonard leading the way, and he's most of the time first star on the Griffins list every night too. So it's hard to deny him that.
Yeah, so those are our mid-season top 3 stars. That's our roster breakdown so far. So we're gonna kind of talk about the rest of the season, some of our predictions, kind of, maybe a little bit of a trade deadline talk. We'll take a quick ad break here, real quick. So overall, the Griffins have had like a crazy first start of the season, more than we could even imagine. But we're gonna kind of talk about like how the rest of the season could go and our predictions, kind of. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we look at the rest of the season. Obviously, the Grand Rapids Griffins started so hot. One of the first concerns would be, can they keep it up? You know, obviously they've been so stinking hot. They got to come back to earth at some point. It looks like that has already initiated. Looks like some of the returning players from injuries have stepped in and maybe boggled the chemistry around just a touch to where the Grand Rapids Griffins have to reconfigure. Maybe the teams around the league are looking at what the Grand Rapids Griffins are doing, starting to apply some of that to their game, starting to apply ways to stop that. The way that the Griffins have annihilated everyone so far, teams can catch on rather quick. So it's time for Dan Watson to take the approach of, you know, what are the other teams doing to counter what he's doing, and can he counter it back? So
it's time to make some secret plays and throw them in the book and save the best for the best, you know?
Yeah, because there's a lot of games left in this season. Obviously, the Griffins being as hot as they started, you'd think that, I mean, they're dang near clinched in the playoffs already. So all they have to do is take the time for the rest of the season to figure out what works, maybe not expose too much of what they plan to do come playoff time. Hopefully we get a couple returning players like Carter Mazur comes back, and maybe we even get a drop down like Gustafson or someone that does bolster the ability for the Grand Rapids to take that high level depth into the playoffs.
Yeah, so I want to take a look at it. So Dan Watson, he's created great teams, but a lot of these teams haven't been able to like fully pull through and win the championship. They've made it to the semifinals. They've made it close, and I'm kind of seeing a little bit of a pattern. Can Dan Watson take this team, which is maybe the best team he's ever had? Can he take this and win himself a championship finally? Because if you look at in the Walleye, he was there every year, taking second place, third place, getting so close, but could never just taste that final bit of victory. And this year, there's a couple things that are concerning. There's the game streak. We tied the franchise games in a row winning streak, and then we couldn't beat it. We couldn't have our own record. We had to tie it. We lost that game. And then it was the point streak. We had a 19-game point streak, and then we lost that. And we only tied the record when we had a chance. I just feel like we left some on the table, and I hope that's a learning lesson for us right now. And we can take those moments and pull through and win the real prize. And prize that we're looking at is the Calder Cup. If we can solve all these issues and take those losses for a Calder Cup, that's the ultimate goal here.
And I mean, we can't forget that the Grand Rapids Griffins are the developmental affiliate of the Detroit Red Wings. So if the Detroit Red Wings are feeling like they need what they need for their playoff push, which looks like is becoming more of a reality now than the last couple seasons, the Detroit Red Wings are going to do what they need to do to win in the playoffs. And whether or not that involves the trade deadline and what that could mean for the Grand Rapids Griffins moving into the trade deadline, whether we lose Gustafson, Hall, and Nate Danielson and we feel naked without our protection anymore. Things can happen to the Grand Rapids Griffins that could throw things off for the rest of the season, to say the least. So at this point, what gets brought back in from a trade like that or something that could happen, who knows? But there are some things to look at and what could happen for the rest of the season.
Also, you can think like, we're in the playoffs. Red Wings are down a couple games. We need to change. We're calling up Nate Danielson. We're calling up Michael Branson-Nygaard both. Putting them both up here.
Or Sebastian Kosa.
Yeah, or Kosa.
Goalie goes down and they bring up Sebastian Kosa. That could be a legitimate thing that happens. And all of a sudden the Griffins are scrambling to get things in order. I think we'll be fine in the event that Kosa goes up and gets some time. Kostava and Gylander, I would hope fall back and resort to the way they have played early in the season. But yeah, I mean, definitely some questions, some things to look out for the rest of the season here. And, of course, you got that Central Division to worry about. You got the Chicago Wolves that have really looked to find their groove. You got the Texas Stars really looking like they found their groove as well. And Milwaukee Admirals seem to play bad against every team but us. And same thing with the Iowa Wild. I mean, these teams in the Central Division are going to continue to give us problems as we go throughout the season. So,
yeah, so that should pretty much wrap up our mid-season review. I mean, we got a whole nother half. We're at the halfway point. Anything could happen. It looks like the Griffins should make the playoffs unless catastrophic failure happens. But yeah, Griffins, great start of the season. You can't ask for it. Best team in 90 years of all AHL history. So that's better than anyone could possibly imagine. So great first half of the season. Let's hope we keep the foot on the gas and bring us home a cup. So yeah, that should pretty much wrap us up for the episode. You can join us at the Ada Extravaganza on March 7th. From 10:30 to 11:30 a.m. at Ada Christian School. We got a little hockey demo going on. You can come shoot at our goalie. We also have a giveaway. Come up to our booth and talk to us and get listed in the giveaway. We have a Nate Danielson signed puck, 2 Pipeline hat trick hats, and 2 Griffins tickets. So come on down, see us. Come talk hockey, and there's 90 other local businesses there. So check it out.
Yeah, and like Connor said, come take a shot on our net. We'll have sticks and foam balls to shoot at our goalie. It'll be fun. And try to get – last year we had Crash from the Whitecaps and buckets from the Gold. And maybe we'll even get Griff down there this year. Love to see it. So I think that'll wrap us up for this episode. We'll catch you on the next one. We'll probably get back into the regular scheme format of episodes. We've been doing a lot of these Central Division team reviews. So we'll kind of get back into our regular scheme of things. Hopefully we can got one more team, the Milwaukee Admirals, to get, and then it'll be regular episodes. So
yeah. Go Griffins.
Go Griffins.
Thank you for listening to the Griffins Pipeline Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, give us a 5-star review. We are part of the Hockey Podcast Network. We are not partnered with the Grand Rapids Griffins, Detroit Red Wings, or Toledo Walleye. We are not experts. We are just die-hard fans looking to make a community with others alike. Let's go Griffins Nation. Join the fun, like and follow us on Facebook and X, or call into the show and have your opinion heard 1-616-319-1175. Thank you. Grand Rapids Griffins, Toledo Walleye, and Detroit Red Wings. Players, coaches, websites, and social media. Thank you AHL.com, NHL.com, ETL.com, EliteProspects.com, and anyone else putting out information on the teams. Until next time, go Griffins. Go Red Wings, go Walleye.